Hi everyone, it is Lindsay from Inside the Hem. Today I am reviewing Simplicity 9141. It is a beautiful shirred dress pattern that is perfect for warmer weather. It's super flattering and surprisingly beginner friendly once you understand a few key techniques. And before we jump in to the full review, I wanted to thank Craftsy for sponsoring today's video. Craftsy is one of my favorite online resources for creative learning. They have over 2,000 classes across more than 20 categories, from sewing to quilting and embroidery to painting, cooking, and photography. I really started using Craftsy when I wanted to learn how to sew lingerie for the first time. I've talked about this a little bit, just being intimidated by kind of all the bits and bobbles and delicate lace. But I've recently taken their leather and vinyl sewing for beginners class by Mary Beth Temple, and I was so impressed with how much I was able to learn about two fabrics, we'll call them fabrics, that I genuinely didn't work with very much because I was, again, intimidated. Mary Beth, the instructor, walked through everything step by step, and it completely changed how I think about leather and vinyl in my sewing projects. That is what I love most about Craftsy. All the classes are led by friendly, award-winning instructors who make even the trickiest techniques feel totally doable. And the lessons are broken down into short, easy-to-follow videos so you can fit them in whenever you have time to sew or play them while you're sewing. Very meta. Plus, there's always something new to learn. With all of my new leather sewing knowledge, I am eyeing the faux leather duffel bag class by Ashley Huff. The bag is absolutely beautiful, would make the perfect little weekender bag, and I would get to practice a lot of the leather sewing skills that I learned from Mary Beth. And the best part, get a full year of Craftsy Premium for just $1.49. It's valid for new members only, so don't miss out if you've been wanting to try it and missed maybe last month's offer. All right, let's get into the review of Simplicity 9141. I'll walk you through the fit, the construction, any changes that I would make if I made it again, the fabric I used, all the good stuff. So it is a shirred bodice dress, and what I love most is how it combines comfort with that high-end designer feel Cynthia Rowley is known for. It looks like something you'd find in a boutique, but you get the satisfaction of saying, I made it. In fact, I was able to find the original Cynthia Rowley design that this pattern was based off of, and I was shocked to see that it probably cost around $350. The original was sewn from a cotton poplin, and they chose to dress it up for their photo shoot with heels and kind of like a fancier fabric. As you can see, I really love to dress down my version. I love a quote-unquote fancy dress that I can wear casually. This pattern includes a single version. There's not multiple views like you would see in some other patterns, which is a little annoying to me as it doesn't give the pattern a ton of value, but as a designer pattern, that's all we can expect because that's all the designer has designed for that design. Wow, lots of designs. You get the point. The paper bag style neckline is romantic but not revealing. The bodice has this soft, stretchy fit that makes it really comfortable to wear, and the extra wide tiers gives the skirt a ton of drama. I cut my size based on my fast fit worksheet and didn't need to make any major fitting changes other than shortening the bodice, which I have to do all the time. It's like my tried and true pattern alteration, especially with the big five. I'm always shortening my bodice. But width-wise or circumference adjustments, I didn't really have to make much. Because of the shirring, it molds to your shape without feeling too tight. There's no need for zippers or buttons, which makes it a great pattern for newer sewists too. Very forgiving on fit because the shirring and the elastic thread is doing all the work. I did make a few changes to this pattern to make it a little bit simpler and also less expensive because I am a budget girly. First, I altered the length of the tiers, like the length as you're laying it out on the fabric, not the height, but what will end up being the circumference of the tier. I did this mostly to accommodate the width of my fabric because the long strips wouldn't fit. but also just to waste less fabric. The fabric layout as is has you place all the tiers on the fold. Some of them barely went like halfway across the width of the fabric. So I ended up cutting some of them on the fold, the longer ones, but some of the shorter ones, I just positioned them right next to each other. The pattern also has instructions for elastic casings in the bodice instead of shirring. Not entirely sure why they made that decision. I think they thought maybe it was going to be easier than trying to explain how to do shirring, but that seemed like a lot of work, and I thought it would result in like a bulky, uncomfortable bodice. Plus, who wants to pay all that money for elastic when you can just use like less than one spool of elastic thread instead? Now, shirring, I know, can sound intimidating if you've never done it before, but it's honestly one of the most forgiving techniques out there. I actually teach this to my very, very beginner sewing students, and they love it. Once you get your machine tension right, the tension with the hand widening of the bobbin, once you figure that out, it's kind of really simple and addictive. Watching the fabric gather up perfectly every time feels like magic, and it is so trendy. You will see it in all the stores from Target to high-end brands. So my sewing students end up leaving with something they feel like, oh yeah, like that looks like ready to wear. I used a, shockingly, 100% cotton thrifted sheet. I've been thrifting a lot of fabric ever since Joann closed, and the thrift store has kind of become my new favorite fabric store. With this dress, I wanted to go a little bit more cottagecore than elegant like the original Cynthia Rowley dress. And I think the blueprint on white lends itself kind of to that coquette trend as well. The weight and drape of this sheet worked out beautifully for this style. You want something that's breathable and with a little bit of drape so the gathers don't feel too bulky, but not too drapey so that the skirt still has a lot of drama. What's fun about this dress is just how versatile it is. With sandals and a straw bag, it's perfect for a summer day, but you could absolutely layer it under a denim jacket or a crop sweater for fall. It's one of those pieces that can shift seasons just by changing your accessories, and I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and our weather here, it really doesn't get that cold. So I can get away with wearing a dress like this for maybe 9 months out of the year. Overall, Simplicity 9141 feels like the perfect mix of romantic and relaxed. It's trendy, it's comfortable, and it's surprisingly beginner-friendly for a designer pattern. If you've been wanting to try shirring but haven't taken the plunge yet, this is such a great pattern to start with. Let me know in the comments if you've made this one or if it's on your to-sew list. And don't forget to subscribe for more pattern reviews, styling ideas, and sewing inspo. That's going to do it for me today, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all very soon. Bye!